Hi, I'm John Francis, and in this video I'm going to show you how I removed the acrylic lens from a Lewmar Portlight, one of the later model ones from a Hallberg Rassy 1998 Hallberg Rassy 34. I made a few videos and I've tried to stitch them together, but I don't suppose my editing skills are particularly good, so I hope you bear with me, but I hope you find it useful. Thank you. Removing the glass on our Lewmar Portlight from a Hallberg Rassy 34 in 1998. And I understand this is a new style Lewmar. You can see the glass, or the perspex, is just held in with silicone. So if I turn it over, nothing on this side, and if you gradually roll it around, you can see the silicone around the edge. And all that silicone has to be removed quite carefully. And in addition, these particular windows have got these little clips, and the little clips are in every place where there are two holes in the side of the frame, so they're quite difficult to get out. And I'll show you the technique that I use to get the silicone out. So I use a very sharp scalpel, and I'm only going to use one hand here, so I'm going to be very careful, and I just get it in the side here and dig it. Now here's an area which I've done further, and you can see how deep the actual frame is, the metal frame. You put that, you get that as far as you can, right there down. And I try not to scratch the aluminium if I can help. I try and keep it very close to the side, because at the end of the day, you have to remove every last drop of silicone, otherwise the new silicone won't stick. So there we go. And then I will also do the other side, cut that in. I haven't done that in two sides, because I've only got one hand. I'm going to be very super careful here. And then I use a screwdriver, electrical screwdriver, to basically try and lift it out. But I need to put that on the tripod to show you. Okay. A piece of wood is good because it sort of just puts a very gentle rubbing. It does eventually. Oh, there we go. With my nail on that bit, gradually gets it off. There's a few hours work there. Anyway, that'll do for the moment. So I'm now just trying to get the silicone away from the little clip. And the clip is actually stuck to the sides. I'm trying to get the scalpel behind the clip, but on this I was able to do it on the other side, but this clip is very tight, so I actually can't get behind it. And you have to press in here. The actual clips are of course if the silicone wasn't there, it would be a bit easier to press them away, but I'm cutting very close, right up against the aluminium, trying to get behind the clip, but this is terribly tight. That is really super tight. I found on the other side that if I was able to push it along the slot, it would come out more easily than just trying to lift it. But I'm really struggling to get between the clip. Oh, here we go. And just get the scalpel in the gap. Here we go. Because part of the problem is that with the silicone, it sticks the clip to the aluminium. Again. And this one is super tight. Cool. I don't get any movement on that at all. I was wondering if I actually... Oh! So I've managed just to release the... So again, if I run my scalpel in the groove there, and try not to scratch the anodizing. That noise. And I was told it's much better to push the perspex out from one end. What I'm not quite sure is whether oh yeah, the clip is actually stopping this from popping out. Sure. I've successfully managed to get some of these little clips out of that slot there, and I'll show you. These were relatively easy. Here's one that I haven't got out. So I'm just trying to get the silicone. And then if you can typical. The last two came out really easily. There's a little gap between the legs. This one is more tricky. If you can get the scalpel in behind, between the aluminium and the plastic clip, right, it looks like it might be coming loose. I'm just trying to get these clips just get them to Ah, there we go, it's moved. So now it's going sideways. And it should, with any luck, turn on the other end. There we go. You can see it's just going sideways and now it's popped up. So I found that the most successful way of getting them out. Oops. Huh. And you can see you've got the two little clips here which just drop into there. So the matter of and if you notice it's shaped, it's tapered, so this silicone obviously gets behind here and behind here, but that's why it's useful to get the scalpel in there to cut it away. So we've managed to free the other end a bit. So this is just pushing it just gently. I'll turn it around and then you can see. I'm just using my thumb carefully. I probably need to put the scalpel in that gap. So again, trying not to scratch the anodizing or bend the frame. The gap opens up as you just gently apply pressure. Okay. Now I haven't got the clips out the other side yet, so I'm hoping, I'm wondering if if I lift this side, get this side out, I need to get rid of all this silicone around here. So that's the next bit. Okay, I'll stop there. Now I've put my scalpel down this edge all the way along as far as I can, just touching the bottom. I'm having to lift it out to avoid the clips. And I'm now going to see if I can, because I've taken it, it's loose that side, and I now want to see if I can free it from the other side without having to remove all the clips. So I'm just going to ease the silicone here. Wants to come. Ooh. Doesn't feel like it wants to come at the moment, without putting too much. I think it is the clip that's holding it. Oh, there we go. That's just, whoops. I want to be very careful of the, I want to bend the frame. When the other side was done though, it lifted out. No, this doesn't want to come. I don't think. I don't like the feel of that. Get this end out. Oh no. No, you've got to get the clips out. I've got to get that clip out. Which, as we saw earlier, isn't very easy. This clip does not want to come out. Oh. What I need to do here we go, that clip's come out now. What I managed to do is just to push the frame over sufficiently to ease the clip out. What I'm doing is I am pushing, just easing the frame over the glass. Into the space I created on that side. God. There we go. Okay. Managed to free it. Now hopefully we can pull it away from all the clips. There we go. That's gradually coming. But again, I don't want to put much pressure on it. There we are. Right, that's popped out. I didn't actually have to cut the silicone next to the perspex. So now I'm left with the frame with a few clips. And you see the clips here. There's one. I didn't show a very good picture of it last time. That's the clip. And you can just see the little hooks and the gap in between. That's good enough. And now I've got lots of time spent cleaning that silicone out of that. And what I will use is a piece of sharpish wood. What have I done with it? Here it is. So it's a piece of mahogany, so it's not scratchy. And you just gotta, oh no, this frame's terrible. It's got a recess in there. God. Ooh, that's a real, I don't like the sound of that either. This is going to be a real job to get all this out. Crikey. No wonder they charge you a lot. It's going to take hours. Sorry about the noise. So I'm now trying to remove the remnants of the silicone, and I'm finding that if I use a very, very sharp, this is a brand new scalpel blade, you can see the very thin layer on this flange. And if you drag, carefully drag the blade over it, you can gradually get rid of the silicone. I'm trying not to scratch the the anodizing. So that's relatively easy to get that surface off. It's much harder is this groove in here, and I find that if I cut carefully down each side, not worry too much about the bottom, but just get the silicone away from the sides. Unfortunately, the little slots, they can catch the edge of the scalpel blade, so that can blunt the blade. And then I'm using a thin screwdriver just to drag that along the bottom. I did try and make a scalpel with a flat tip, but they're incredibly hard. I thought the blades are, and I can't make it narrow enough to go down the slot, and I find that I can't fight it, and grinding is a bit dangerous. So this is, and slowly but surely it does come out. A little bit left. You get a little bit so you haven't got the sides off. Alright, I can see that's pretty well clear of silicone, but it won't be clean enough. I'll need to spend a fair bit of time completely clearing out that slot. But the best technique is, I think, is to hoover it. I'll do that in a minute. It seems to come off the bottom of the slot relatively easily if you've got the sides cut. There we go. Now the corners are much harder because the bend in the aluminium reduces the width of the slot. So as the aluminium is bent, and it makes it not, this side isn't vertical, isn't straight, so it's much harder to get the scalpel in there. And the screwdriver. So those are much trickier. I don't like the sound, it's sort of sounds graunchy. I'm scratching the aluminium. Anyway, just time and patience required. And you can finish it off by either using a piece of a blunt stick. This gets the, helps to get the last bit of doesn't seem to be working as well as last time. Or a nail. God, that doesn't seem to be working either. Let's try this. So gently with the scalpel. The scalpel is the best though. Okay, well I've been at this for a few hours for the last couple of days, and I've now realised that there's an undercut in the groove for where the silicone goes. So it's a real job to get out, and I have resorted to using some silicone sealant remover, and I've done this about 3 times so far. So I use a paintbrush, well I squeeze it into the groove, and then I use a stiffish paintbrush to just get it in to the groove where possible. And the most difficult bits to get the silicone out of are the corners. Anyway, so that's that. It doesn't seem to affect the aluminium. The silicone remover says it's okay on aluminium, so I don't think it's damaged that at all. But it does seem to help. It's not perfect at getting it off. You do have to give it several goes. Anyway, there we are. Okay, this is the last tool that I used to get the last bits of silicone out of the groove around the back. And I made this little tool from a piece of galvanized wire about 2 millimeters in diameter. Here's the whole thing, a little handle on the end. And I had to form a very, very sharp corner on the end to get round into the groove. And you also notice, I'm not focusing very well on this, that I have actually hit it with a hammer to make it thinner than the rest of the wire. And that is particularly necessary around the corners of the frame, where the groove is actually much narrower. And this is just about the right size, because you can put it into the groove, you can put it across the groove, and then when you start to scrape it out, you can rotate it. And you can do that on the straight bits, you can't do it on the corners. And actually you can see that flat quite nicely there, I think, now. Okay, so that was the last thing I had to use.